So it is really my pleasure to introduce the first of our two speakers, who needs no introduction in this group. As you know, Ambassador Fujisaki has spent time when he was a young boy in middle school in the state of Washington, and then studied also at Brown and Stanford, and really has a good background in the importance of the U.S.-Japan relationship. He had served as a diplomat certainly in Paris, London, Jakarta, and also was the ambassador to the United Nations and the WTO. From our perspective, he has been a strong advocate of forging the relationship with all Americans and Japan, but certainly in forging the relationship with Japanese Americans. And he and his wife recently hosted a reception at the embassy, along with the council, to invite Japanese Americans. It was the first time that a gathering like that had occurred a few weeks ago. And we had over 300 that attended, and it was really quite remarkable to know that there were that many that were in Washington. But more importantly, they really appreciated the fact that the ambassador had welcomed them, and we believe that they will become an important base of support in the future. I want to just take a moment to thank Mrs. Fujisaki for joining us, and we have some flowers for her and wish to present those at this time. Sharon will do that. So we thank her. She's a great partner along with the ambassador. So at this time, it gives me great pleasure to bring up the first of our two speakers, Ambassador Fujisaki.
I would like to talk about three things. One, current Japan-U.S. relations. Second, President Obama's visit. Third, where we are going from here. Japan-U.S. relations. We are entering a new age. And right after August election, I see some journalists or American scholars here, so I am hesitating to say it, but still I'm going to go ahead and say it. Right after election, I thought the reaction was, hey, Japan is finally a democracy. They can change the government. Second, we know what transition is. We are expert of that. Third is that, Japan changed the government because of economic performance of the last government. They're not happy, so there will not be any change in foreign policy. I must say, those were a little bit underestimating the change, and if what they were saying in campaigning manifesto was quite closely followed, that kind of estimate could not have occurred. I'll give you 2 or 3 reasons. One is that change occur. The change of administration occur every 4 or 8 years here. In Japan, it was virtually first after 50 years. Second, this election in August was not about individuals, but it was about manifesto of parties. And so they were voting for what the new government will be doing. And also, the new government was forming a coalition with 2 other parties. So the government is composed of 3 parties, and they have to abide by to that as well. Third point is that we, in the United States, for example, the midterm election comes 2 years after presidential election. Here, we had an election in August 30th and August 31st, and next election is in July already. That's upper house election. That means that constituency or people will be looking very carefully at if the government will be implementing what they have committed. So that was the what this new government has to always keep in mind. These are the reasons that the change occurred was a little bit more than people have expected, and now some media, if I may say, are a little bit too much concerned about the situation. First focus was on the stopping of refueling of naval ships operating in with Operation Enduring Freedom activities in the Indian Ocean. Japanese leaders said we will not automatically continue that from January next year. There were some views, not only from this government but other governments as well, that it should be continued. But I thought that's what the Japanese government should decide, and I think that was quite well understood by U.S. government. I don't know about other governments, but was quite well understood. Second issue that got little attention was U.S. force realignment. And that is, we'll talk about that a little later. And because of that, there were some articles or columns saying that, maybe long-lasted alliances drifting a bit, which I think is a vast exaggeration, again, of what the situation is, and underestimation of the strength of alliance. In that, this is where we are.